The name change reflects the fact that as a department, we no longer just study women. And I think that overall, the name change illustrates effectively our contemporary approaches to theory, research, and teaching.
When I first heard that the department was changing its name from Women's Studies to the Department of Women's, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, I felt excited because I feel like it sort of encompasses or speaks more directly to my work, which I tend to take sort of a cultural studies approach to popular culture. So incorporating sexuality and gender and the name I think is important.
I actually don't study women, I study men, so to include the gender in there is a good thing. So, I'm concerned with how masculinity influences right-wing organizing, so it's nice to have, I guess, my topic area then brought under the purview of the title.
Gender and sexuality is so important. That's one of the main things we talk about in women's studies. So I feel like it's a little more broad, and I like that.
The name change is interesting for me because it allows me to say that I work around issues of women, gender, and sexuality studies. So it gives me a range of topics within which my work then can be sort of named or situated.
It does reflect, I think, the changing character of our department and the kinds of research that we do in our department. We are not just studying women, we are not just studying the experiences of women in global culture, generally speaking, but we're also looking at gender more broadly in terms of how ideas around femininity and masculinity affect our lives. And it also reflects a general move at a national level of how women's studies or feminist studies departments are beginning to expand their focus to include genders.
I think by switching to women's, gender, and sexuality studies, it helps the campus community at large understand the broad scope of our discipline, the broad abilities of our faculty and of our graduate students, and the depth and breadth of our curriculum.
I'm excited to see it expand. I think it moves us beyond identity politics. I think it broadens our reach pedagogically with undergraduate students. I think undergraduate students will find much more to resonate with in that name change and to give them a truer sense of what we're doing. It also names what we do in the department better, because a lot of our faculty work in sexuality studies and gender is always a primary category of analysis. So it matches what we do as faculty, and it will do well with the undergraduate and the graduate population. So I see it as a positive move.
My whole idea of how great the Women's Studies department is and was, it really carries through. It's better than I would have ever thought it could be, because of the atmosphere, the accepting atmosphere. The relationship between faculty, students, and staff is always so professional, and so it's just something that I really have not found in other places.
It's an intellectual community. I'm constantly being challenged every day about why I think certain things are important or the questions that I'm asking in my work.
I think we have managed to create a departmental culture that emphasizes and values transparency, mutual respect, and diverse contributions. And there seems to be a shared understanding that each of us values the contributions of others, whether one is faculty, student, or a staff member.
Every time you walk into the physical office space of the Department of Women's, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, there's always someone to talk to. There's always someone to bounce research ideas off of, to talk about classes, to hear about campus events and community events. It's a great atmosphere.
It's groovy, it's sexy, it's powerful, and it's really deep and transformative. So you ask for one word, I give you a set of one words, so all of them can go.
I find the department stimulating. Why? Because people are all doing a bunch of different interesting work. So it really is an interdisciplinary intellectual space where people come from all different kinds of trainings, and we're not all working on the same thing. We're all working on really different things, and yet we can have really interesting conversations across those specializations. So I find it very stimulating.